You don't need a broom. Sam's mother sneered down at me. It seemed like she was enjoying herself. Her face wore a permanent smirk. I'm a working mom, living with my husband Sam and son. I've been supporting my husband's dream of becoming a singer, but he just keeps hopping from one job to another, basically freeloading off me. Then, out of nowhere, my in-laws called. They started renovation work on their house without even consulting me.
Look, it's more convenient this way since I'm getting busier with work.
I got angry at my husband for making such a unilateral decision.
Besides, the house is small. We need to make a room for my parents, too.
And since you don't earn as much, we don't really need a room for you, do we? That's when I decided to reveal the truth. The look on my in-laws' faces was unforgettable. My name is Emily James. I'm currently the CEO of my own company. My company plans and sells fashion and lifestyle products for women. By offering trendy items, we've gained a strong following among women. Why did I start this company? Because I didn't get accepted into the company I wanted to work for. I didn't want to settle, so I thought, why not start my own company? Starting a business was really tough. There were financial issues, staffing problems, and above all, my own inexperience. But I've always believed in embracing change and enjoying challenges. With passion and effort, I slowly built trust and credibility. Our company is especially focused on creating a supportive work environment for women. We encourage flexible work arrangements and support balancing work with childcare and caregiving. We help women advance in their careers and provide opportunities for them to show leadership. Balancing work and home life can be difficult, but we built a support system to help with that. We focus on creating an environment where every employee feels comfortable working. We also place a high value on communication among employees. We hold regular meetings and team-building events. We've even designed our office layout and facilities to include relaxing spaces and a nursing room. To me, connections with people are just as important as passion for work. Building trust with clients is crucial, as is maintaining trust among employees. I aim to grow the company alongside the people I work with. My company started in a small office, but it has gradually grown to employ more people. I plan to keep moving forward, embracing challenges and change. I truly hope more people will want to work with me in the future. I've been married once before and have a son. My ex-husband Ken and I went to the same elementary school. Back in school, I always sat in the corner of the classroom. Just because I was quiet and plain, I was often ignored by the other kids. Sometimes they even said hurtful things to me. My belongings were often hidden or broken. I was afraid to go to school every day. But one day, Ken, who was a popular figure in the class, stood up for me. Ken was cheerful, friendly, and well-liked by everyone.
Hey, stop it! What's the fun in picking on someone?
His voice rang out across the classroom. The bullies paused for a moment, but quickly pushed back.
What's it to you? Do you like her or something? Whether I like her or not doesn't matter. It's just wrong to find joy in bullying someone.
From that moment, I started to notice Ken more. His courage and kindness inspired me. I wanted to change myself because of him. I was determined to improve myself, both in looks and in academics. Little by little, I regained my confidence, thanks to the help Ken gave me that day. I wanted to become strong like him. Years went by and I entered middle school. I was motivated to study hard, driven by the desire to prove myself to those who had made fun of me. I got into a prestigious high school. High school life was different. People had their own things going on and there wasn't much interest in others' business. I felt comfortable in that environment. I slowly changed my appearance and gained more confidence. I was fortunate to have good friends and enjoyed my high school years. Eventually, I got into the college I wanted. Then, at a part-time job, I unexpectedly ran into Ken again, but he didn't recognize me. Hi Ken, it's Emily James. It's been a long time. You don't remember me?
Oh, Emily? From elementary school? I didn't recognize you at first. You've changed so much.
I nervously answered. Yes, it's been a while. Have you been well?
You look great now.
His face was full of a warm smile, just like before. Hearing Ken's voice brought back feelings I had forgotten. I remembered how he had protected me from bullies in elementary school, and I realized that I still had special feelings for him. Seeing him smile again made those feelings stronger. Thank you. If you hadn't been there, I don't know what would have happened to me. I wanted to say those words out loud, but I wasn't sure if Ken remembered that day. I didn't want to seem too emotional, so I bit my tongue. As we talked more, the painful memories resurfaced, but so did my gratitude for him. He was like a light to me, a beacon of hope. I felt so much joy knowing I could feel that light again. From that day on, we slowly grew closer. I felt like meeting Ken again was fate. While studying at college, Ken pursued his dream of becoming a singer, performing live on the streets. I wanted to support his dream, so I naturally started going to his performances. How's it going today?
Not bad, but I'm really happy you came, Emily.
I want to support your dream, Ken. Let me know if there's anything I can do.
Thanks, Emily. It means a lot. I feel like I can keep going because you're here.
Our relationship quickly became closer. We started dating. Ken was seriously committed to his dream. While Watching his passion and hard work inspired me to work even harder. But reality was tough. Ken's dream wasn't materializing, and our life became more challenging. Still, I continued to support him. Ken's dream was our shared hope. How was it today? I asked, seeing the tired look on Ken's face.
It is tougher than I thought, but I'm not giving up.
I'll keep doing my best with you. I'll always support you no matter what. I tried to cheer him up, but Ken looked away, his expression awkward.
Thanks, Emily, but how am I supposed to explain this to my parents?
It'll be okay. We've got time, and there will come a moment when we can explain it properly.
I know, but it's hard.
His parents were still unaware he was pursuing a music career. They thought he was working a regular job.
I'm lucky to have met someone as wonderful as you, Emily.
His words warmed my heart. We can overcome anything together, Ken. No matter how hard it gets, we'll be okay as long as we're together. Ken gave a small smile but still looked worried.
But if my parents find out I'm chasing this dream, they'll be so disappointed.
I haven't told my parents either, but I think they'll understand if we're honest with them. They wouldn't dismiss your dream, Ken. I continued to encourage him. Ken took a deep breath and seemed to calm down a bit.
Thanks, Emily. I feel like I can keep going because of you.
Let's keep going at our own pace. I believe your dream will come true. I smiled and held his hand tighter. Every day after that, I continued to do my best to support Ken. Even when he was preparing for his performances or struggling with his practice, I was always by his side. Supporting his dream and managing our household with my income, I had no regrets. Wait, are you sure this is okay? Ken's freeloading off you while you're handing over your earnings from your part-time jobs. I often faced such concerns from my friends. Ken's dream is worth it. We're living our life at our own pace, and we're okay with that. Honestly, I didn't care much about Ken's job or lack thereof. More than anything, I was just happy to be with the Ken who had encouraged me so much in my elementary school days. After that, our relationship continued smoothly. After graduating from college, I started my own business, which grew steadily. After Ken and I moved in together, I was even more motivated thanks to his support. After 3 years in business, I got pregnant and we decided to get married. Finding out I was pregnant filled me with joy and surprise. Ken, guess what? I think I'm pregnant. I couldn't contain my excitement, but Ken's eyes widened and he froze for a moment.
Really? You're not joking, are you?
No, I'm serious. Ken seemed flustered and kept taking deep breaths.
We're going to be parents, huh? Oh man, what should I do about work? The responsibility feels heavier now. Maybe I should give up on my dream.
It's okay, I'll support the family. You keep chasing your dream and show our child there are many paths in life. I squeezed his hand. Ken was silent for a while, but after a few seconds, he slowly smiled.
Thank you, Emily. I feel like I can do it with you by my side.
Even after we got married, we never told his parents about his career. Ken had asked me to keep it quiet. I hadn't told my parents either, despite various remarks from friends. Honestly, it didn't matter to me. The most important thing was being with Ken and building a warm home for our child. But looking back now, I realized how blind I was. Becoming a mother gradually opened my eyes. Later, I safely gave birth to our first son, Michael. We also bought a condominium in the city. But around that time, my in-laws, who had never been very involved, began demanding luxury items from me. Ken's mom was particularly insistent. Ken should buy it for you. Whenever I refused, she'd always come back with that line. They seemed to think we were living off Ken's income. I was getting more and more exasperated with Ken, who continued to keep up the facade. Even after our son was born, Ken kept his job situation a secret. I was just dumbfounded. One day I got a call from Ken's mom. I was tired after putting Michael to sleep, but I reluctantly picked up the phone. Emily, I want a new bag for my birthday. The one from that famous brand. Sorry, but we can't afford that right now. What are you talking about? Ken earns a good salary. He should at least be able to fulfill my simple request. Ken's salary? Look, we have our own financial limits too. I'll ask Ken. I'm sure he'll understand. She sighed and hung up the phone. That night after Ken came home, I confronted him about his mom. Your mom asked about that brand bag again. Can't you do something about it?
I'll talk to her, but can you try to be a little more patient?
Patient? That's not fair. Who do you think is paying the bills here? We have a budget and we can't just cater to your mom's every demand. And the fact that she thinks it's your income supporting us is a problem in itself.
Please don't tell her. I'm begging you.
Ken dropped to his knees, bowing his head deeply. My feelings were a mix of surprise and disappointment. I'll keep quiet about your job, but you have to tell her no about the bag. Ken kept bowing his head. But the dealings with his mom only increased after that. Then one day, Ken's mom suddenly showed up at our house. Emily, about that bag I asked for, did Ken say anything? Sorry, but that's not possible. We have our limits too. But Ken earns enough. Why are you being so stingy? You should be more grateful. I was left speechless. I do appreciate everything, but your demands are unreasonable. We're not living just off Ken's income. Fine, I'll talk to Ken directly. And she left the house. That night I had another talk with Ken. This can't go on. You need to set things straight.
I know, but please, don't tell my mom.
He answered, looking helpless. Maybe I should have come clean then, but I chose to keep quiet. From that moment, doubts started creeping into my mind. I began to feel uncertain about Ken's behavior. Was he hiding something from me? These worries started to grow. One day, Ken came home very late and didn't answer his phone. Even when I sent messages, he didn't reply. I had a nagging feeling in my heart. The next day, when Ken finally came home, I confronted him. Where were you last night? I was worried.
I just got held up at work.
He answered so casually, but I could sense he was hiding something. Really? Just work? I know you're hiding something.
Stop being so suspicious. I told you it's just work.
His words didn't reassure me at all. There was something clearly off about his behavior. I could feel cracks forming in our relationship. Still, I wanted to believe in Ken. I thought it was my role to support him in his dream, to stand by him as a family. But that belief started to waver. Ken started coming home even later, often not answering calls. Why are you coming home so late these days?
Work is busy.
What kind of work?
Why do you need to know? Work is work.
His tone was sharp. I was growing more suspicious. Is it wrong for me to want to know? We're married. There shouldn't be secrets between us.
Emily, please just trust me. I'm not hiding anything.
His words no longer had any weight. Our relationship grew colder, and Ken's demeanor became even more distant. Still, I couldn't give up on him, but my doubts kept growing. Then one day I got a call from my in-laws. They wanted to have a serious discussion at home. When they arrived, Jessica dropped a bombshell. We're planning to renovate our house. Your house? The one you live in? Yes, of course. And what other house would we renovate? I was momentarily speechless, unable to grasp what she was saying. After a moment, I regained my composure and asked calmly, why would you decide on something like this without consulting us? Well, Ken suggested it. He thought it would be more convenient for us all if we renovated. I stared hard at Ken. He looked panicked and confused, but quickly spoke up.
Oh, well, since I'm getting busier with work, it'd be easier if we all lived together. It'd help with the housework and taking care of Michael.
Again, with Ken's pretenses. You should find a stable job first. Ken wasn't doing anything related to his music career anymore. Absolutely not. Jessica looked shocked, furrowing her brows. Impossible. The construction has already started. I was stunned into silence. Apparently, they'd even decided on the layout without our input. They'd been swayed by some sales pitch about a promotional discount and made an instant decision. And Jessica, who was convinced we were living off Ken's salary, continued. But you don't need a room, do you? Unless you start earning as much as Ken. Her words angered me. If that's how you feel, I don't need a room. I'll handle things on my own. Jessica smirked. What will you do when this house gets sold and you can't live here anymore? I'll manage. I'm not some docile wife. Jessica muttered under her breath. Such an ungrateful daughter-in-law. I didn't care. I'm not paying a dime for the renovations. If anyone's getting kicked out, it's you. I glanced at Ken. He remained expressionless. He probably thought I would pay for everything. Then another shocking fact came to light. I had always given Ken a fixed amount of money to prevent him from overspending, but he gambled it away and even dipped into Michael's savings. I discovered this when I checked our bank passbook. A large amount had been withdrawn from our savings account, and I was horrified. I immediately confronted Ken. Ken, what is this? Where did this money go? Ken was visibly shaking, his face showing signs of trying to come up with an excuse.
I just borrowed a little. I'll pay back soon.
Borrowed? This much money? What did you spend it on? Ken looked away, struggling to answer.
Well, I used it for some gambling.
Hearing this, something snapped inside me. I can't take it anymore. I'm done with you. Ken was shocked and tried desperately to explain.
Wait, Emily, I'm really sorry. I won't do it again.
I can't believe a word you say anymore. I don't think you'll ever change. He pleaded even more desperately.
Please, Emily, just give me one more chance, for Michael's sake.
His words didn't reach me anymore. You've made so many promises, but you've broken every one. I'm not paying for the house renovation or any of your debts. I can't rely on you anymore. Ken bowed his head to the floor, crying, pleading desperately.
Emily, please, just one more chance for Michael's sake.
I was momentarily moved by his tears, but then steeled my resolve. I started thinking about divorce, and soon a new incident solidified my decision. One day, I had to leave the house for work, and I asked Ken to look after Michael. Ken, I need to be out all day for work. Can you take care of Michael? He nodded reluctantly.
Okay, I'll watch him.
I gave Ken detailed instructions on feeding times, diaper changes, and Michael's favorite toys. Here's the formula. If he cries, feed him. Check his diapers regularly and bathe him at this time. Ken seemed a bit annoyed, but nodded.
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry so much.
Although worried, I trusted Ken and left for work. I rushed to finish my work quickly, worried about Michael. I managed to finish early and head back home. I wonder if he's sleeping or playing. I eagerly opened the door, only to be greeted by Michael's crying echoing through the house. A bad feeling crept over me. I kicked off my shoes and rushed toward the sound, calling his name. Michael! Michael, are you okay? I found Michael wailing in his crib. I quickly picked him up. He wouldn't stop crying. I searched for Ken, but he wasn't in the living room or the kitchen. The bad feeling grew stronger. I headed to our bedroom. I opened the door to find Ken with a drink in one hand, gambling online. He was surprised to see me home early. Anger boiled up inside me. Ken, what are you doing? Michael is crying and you're just ignoring him? Ken frowned and tried to explain.
I just looked away for a second. I was going to get back to him soon.
In just a second? Do you know how long he's been crying? You're not fulfilling your responsibilities as a father.
Don't make such a big deal out of it. I'm tired too. I just needed a little break.
A break? Drinking and gambling is a break to you? I left Michael in your care, and this is what you do? Ken became more irritated, raising his voice.
You're always working and never around for the family. Can't I have one day to myself?
At that moment, I knew I couldn't continue living with Ken. I can't do this anymore. We're done. I want a divorce.
Divorce? What are you talking about, Emily? Isn't that too extreme? You can't just throw out the word divorce like that.
It's not sudden. This happened because you've been so self-centered and ignored our family. Michael and I don't need you anymore. Ken tried desperately to defend himself.
Wait, Emily, I'm sorry. I'll change. Give me one more chance.
I don't know how many times I've heard that. I can't expect anything from you anymore.
Please, Emily, for Michael's sake, just one more chance.
I felt my affection for Ken disappear. I'm sorry, Ken, but I can't trust you anymore. I won't let you hurt us any longer. Ken collapsed to the floor, unable to say anything more. I looked at him with a mix of disappointment and pity. After that decisive night, I resolved to end things with Ken. I decided to invite both our parents over to discuss everything and end it once and for all. When our parents arrived, they were chatting happily, not knowing the serious talk that was about to happen. Sorry to interrupt, but there's something important we need to discuss. The living room grew tense. I took a deep breath and began. Mom, Dad, Jessica, Brian, I don't need a room in your house. Oh, really? Then do as you please. I chuckled lightly at Jessica's cold words. You can only say that for now, but Ken's job and the fact that I'm the one supporting us financially, that's all going to change. I detailed everything, including the recent incident. Ken doesn't have a stable job. He's not pursuing music or anything. I'm the one who's been financially supporting this family. I started my own business and our annual revenue is over $10 million. The other day, I had to leave for work and left Michael with Ken, but when I got home, Ken was ignoring Michael and drinking while gambling online.
Is this true, Ken? Have you been lying to us this whole time? What have you been doing?
Ken tried to speak, but no words came out. I continued. I've been holding it in for a long time, but I can't take it anymore. I can't stay with Ken any longer. Emily, that's just your side of the story. Ken has been trying to. Can't you understand that? Understand? What exactly am I supposed to understand? He's been neglecting Michael while drinking and gambling. What do you expect me to understand? Jessica had nothing more to say and turned back to her husband.
Ken, is this really how you want things to be? Do you not want to protect your family? I was trying to work hard for Emily. I was looking for a job, but...
No more lies. You've been deceiving us all along. This is the end, for Michael's sake too. We can't go on like this.
Ken, you should be ashamed of yourself. Emily has been working so hard. Were you not paying attention to anything?
Ken hung his head, his body trembling.
Emily, we had no idea you were going through this. Why didn't you tell us sooner?
Tears welled up in my eyes as I thanked my mom. Thank you, Mom, but from now on, I'm going to do my best for Michael and me.
Ken, what are you going to do without Emily? How will you live?
I'm not worried about Ken anymore. His life is his responsibility now. I took out the divorce papers and handed them to Ken. Sign this and let's end this for good. With trembling hands, Ken took the divorce papers and silently signed them. Emily, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize Ken was this irresponsible. The room was filled with a heavy silence, but my heart felt a little lighter. I forgot to mention I'm not paying for the renovation costs or Ken's gambling debts. Wait just a minute. The house is almost finished, and since you're earning so much, the renovation costs are just pocket change, right? I don't care. If you can't pay, why not sell the house? Jessica looked at me in despair, pleading. At least save the house, please. Help us. If you want to keep it, figure it out yourselves.
Emily, I think you're being too cold. Ken's repentant. Can't you reconsider?
Cold? Do you have any idea how much I've supported them? Besides, we're practically strangers now. Why should I keep dealing with his irresponsibility? And you decided on the renovations without consulting me. That's on you. Ken, with his hands on the floor, lowered his head deeply and pleaded tearfully.
You have no idea how much I've been suffering. You didn't understand anything. Stop burdening Emily any further.
Emily, please, just one more chance. Think it over again, about the house and about Ken. I've already decided I'm not responsible for your renovation costs or Ken's death. Stop hurting us anymore.
Alright, I understand. I won't ask anything more. We'll respect your decision.
Jessica cried silently, saying nothing. Let's end this now. From now on, Michael and I will start a new life together. Ken, take responsibility and live your own life. Ken nodded weakly, wiping away his tears.
Okay, I'll make sure I don't cause any more trouble.
After that, the renovation was never completed and my former in-laws decided to sell the house. The nearly finished house was sold immediately and they moved into a cheap apartment with Ken included. My former in-laws who had retired early were forced to go back to work to repay their debts, and Ken began working from morning till night. One day, Jessica called me in tears. Emily, Ken is working so hard every day. We're trying to start over. I'm so sorry. That's the result of Ken's own actions. Michael and I are focusing on our future now. Jessica tearfully thanked me, but I responded with a firm resolve. You'll have to handle things on your own from now on. We won't be involved anymore. I cut all ties with Ken, but I thought that if Michael wanted to meet his father someday, I would talk to Ken about it. However, until that time comes, I have no plans to see or introduce Michael to him. A new chapter of our lives began. I worked hard for Michael's sake, and my efforts paid off as the company grew rapidly. Annual revenue reached $50 million, and we eventually moved into a spacious office. Reflecting on the past, there were many challenges and hardships, but now I can say with confidence I am happy. Starting a new life with Michael changed my life dramatically. Michael is my treasure, and I want to raise him to be someone who values the people around him. I hope he will grow to form meaningful bonds with many people. For Michael, I'm prepared to face any challenge. I will continue to support his dreams and provide him with the best possible environment. I also strive to be a mother he can look up to and learn from. In my work, I continue to embrace change and enjoy challenges. The experiences of overcoming so many difficulties have made me stronger and shaped who I am today. Our new life has just begun, but it is filled with hope. Every day spent smiling with Michael is the source of my happiness. I will continue to hold on to my beliefs and build a bright future for both Michael and myself.